Okay, so we're in Unity, and well, before we get started on coding the inventory system, I just want to say thank you for clicking on the video, and if you do enjoy and you want more content like this, do subscribe. But before we start coding it, we probably need to set up a few folders to manage all our things. So we're going to create a new folder, just call it scripts, and we're also going to create a new folder, and we'll call it prefabs. Now you can, inside the prefabs folder, you're probably going to want to make another one, unless the inventory is the only thing you're making. In our case it is, but I will make another one, and we'll just call it inventory. Because these are the prefabs we're going to need, and these are the things we're going to drag into the scene. Okay, so next thing we want to do is we want to set up the UI for the inventory. Now this is pretty simple. What we're just going to want to do is create a UI canvas. And yeah, let's put us in 2D mode, and let's go canvas, and you can click F to focus on the canvas. Next we're just going to add a quick panel, and we'll call this inventory. Let's just, I don't know, set it, the width of it to 750 and the height to 700. A little bit of a squashed inventory, that's okay. Next we're just going to set this to transparent with this slider here. I'm going to right click UI panel again, and we'll call this title. I almost forgot how to spell title there. Set that to an even 125, -60, and we can set this to, I'm gonna say, a nice dark bluish color. I quite like that. And we'll also set it to like quite solid. Here we go. So now, whoa, what has happened here? Cool. Now if we go, we have to scale this down a little bit because of the canvas. Now if we go in there, we have a area, then we're gonna have our title. Now in our title, we're gonna UI, and we're gonna go text. And we're just gonna call this title text. And we're gonna set this to inventory or 3. There we go. And as you can see, it's very small, so we're going to scale this up to match the size of the box. Increase the point size of the font, center it, and we'll make it white just to make it pop a little. And also we might want to actually just set that to something like 80. We don't want it to be too big. We don't want it to be in your face, sort of. Okay. And what's great about this is that you could actually have multiple of these sort of buttons, if we can imagine in a game point of view. If we make each one of these buttons a little bit thinner, we could have, you know, map, inventory, I don't know, crafting, and that kind of stuff. And it's all implementable. It's really easy to do, which I might actually do in another video. But we're just gonna copy and paste this panel. We're gonna set it to a slightly darker version of that of the color. We're gonna move this, and we're gonna call it slot holder. So this is what's gonna hold all our inventory slots. Now you can obviously make the slots whatever you want. You can make them triangles, you can make them, honestly, you could even make them little bars. You might see that in a game like, you know what, I am completely blank on what game would use that. Tab G. Tab G is a really totally accurate. Battlegrounds is a really good example of that, actually. How they have like a list of items that you have, and you can drag them onto your guns and stuff like that. We won't quite be doing drag and drop in this tutorial. We're just going to keep it really simple. But that's just something to keep in mind. Alright, next we're going to go UI. First of all, actually, before we do this, we're going to click on this, and we're just going to add the grid component, the grid layout group. Not the actual grid component, but the grid layout group. We'll keep the cell size to something like 50 for now, and we'll just set a padding of 5 on each one, and a spacing of 5, I guess, just to keep them nice and sort of separated. You know what? We'll make this 2. Yep. And we're just gonna right click and to create, and we're gonna go UI, and then we're gonna go under image. Sorry, I'm not using a custom one, so we're gonna go UI and then button. Oh no, we can make image. We can make image work, and we're gonna call the slot. Slot is going. This is gonna be our slot. Believe it or not. And if we can't actually move this around really, because it is snapped into position as a slot. And I just realized that it's super tiny, so we are gonna make that 100. And make the spacing 5. Okay, so we're next gonna add the button component to the slot, and this is going to act as pretty much what we're gonna use to be able to drop, craft everything with this item. It's yeah, the interactables with the item. Sick. Okay, we can now give it an image if we want. Personally, I'd probably just go background. Looks decent. If you have it at the size I have, it has a nice rounding to it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in inventory, and we're just gonna drag in the slot as a prefab. Yeah, and then actually, if we go on the slot in the scene view, we can double click on the prefab to open it. Where is it? Apparently it's not in the canvas. Okay, lol. Well, we'll just go back out and we'll edit it here. Now if we go under UI and make another image underneath, we'll call this icon. The icon is what you're going to be able to see. Maybe not 25, we'll make it 50. For now we're just going to assign them different colors. I feel like that might be just a better way to do things for now. Or we personally, I'd probably just go, for now we could just go check mark, knob, that kind of stuff, just make it really simple. But for now we'll just use none, because that's what we're going to be using. Now on the slot we're also going to be having the item component. Well actually that's going to be under the icon. We'll actually call this item. Yeah, cool. So now we have this, we can copy and paste this like any number of times, and yeah, so this should be actually done for this. Now that I think about it, I'm not doing the old inventory system, so we actually don't need an item inside. It will, because we'll just be instantiating them. Cool. So we can actually just copy and paste this, like, I don't know, however many times you want it to fit in your inventory. I think 35 is a good amount. You can play around with the slot holder settings if you want. You can increase the left and right to make it more center. I think like 12 or like 10 is the center for me. And you can also do stuff for the top and bottom. I might do that. 25. 25 seems like a good even between me. Now, if we go into play, nothing's going to happen apart from that we can click on our slots, which isn't really going to do much. But as you can see, we have a really basic inventory, and it's just really simple. Now what we can also do is we could just set up a simple exit and open button. So under title, we're just going to go UI. We're going to make a button, and we're going to call it exit inventory. Have that as a capital as well. Okay, and we'll make this like 50 by 50. No, 100 by 75 by 75. What about that? There we go. And we're just going to have that over here as the quit button, and we're just going to set that as background or whatever was on UI Sprite. That's fine. And we're just going to remove the text, and this should be fine. If we go under here, under the on click, we can drag in our inventory and then set game object dot set active is equal to false. So now if we go onto the game, we can now click this button to quit the inventory. We can hotkey it to be I or something to open it. We will do that soon. Okay, next becomes up with the scripting. Scripting for an inventory is actually pretty simple. we'll just be making a few scripts. We'll make another folder inside the scripts folder called inventory, just to keep it all organized. It will go inventory manager. Now, before we actually edit this, we're going to be adding another game object called game manager. Don't know what happened there. Game manager. So I always find that it's generally okay and it's good to always just have a game manager that won't destroy when you're going into different scenes. And this is really important. I think you use the don't destroy and load to do this. We'll make a tag and we'll just call this management or manager. So then our objects can actually find it easier. Here we go. And we're going to drag on inventory manager onto it. Cool, so if we double click this, we'll open up it in Visual Studio. You guys can use whatever you want, but I just use it because it's, one, the UI looks nice, and also I can add suggestions. It adds suggestions to it. Okay, so we're going to have a few options here, and we're going to make first of all, we're going to make a public transform list, and we'll call it slots. We'll also make a public bool list, and we'll call isFull. And then in the start function, we can go, we can also make a public transform called slot holder. And we can go, slots, is equal to a new transform list. And we will call this, wait, and inside we'll go, slot holder dot child count. I don't know if that's with a capital or not, so we'll see. But yeah, so what this is gonna do is just gonna make our slots the length of how many slots we have. Next, we could go have a for loop in here already. Wow, yes, we are getting this. And we're actually just gonna go slot holder dot child count. You know, counting the children, child snatching. But yeah, and then what we can do is we could go slots I. So what this is gonna do is the for loop is gonna loop through until the int of I is equal to the number of children that this that the slot holder has, aka the number of slots we have, and then what that's gonna do is if you remember, we've made our transform list the length of the number of children. So now what we can do is slots I is equal to slot holder dot get child, that's with a capital, and then we can go I. So this is, and then it's going to get the ith child. The ith is the int I inside the for loop. Notice we actually can't use this anywhere else in the script. And what we're actually just going to do is we're going to rename this, instead of start to update slots. Now in a start function, or in a wake, it really does not matter. We can just go, update slots. It's a really simple way just to call methods, especially if we're going to be doing them a lot of the time inside our code. It's just really good to compress it. Okay, so, if we save this now and go back into Unity, that should be fine. Okay, now, in the game manager, as you can see, we have a whole bunch of these that we want to use. So, first of all, we're going to drag in our slot holder into our slot holder here. Now, if we save and go into our game, it should just be able to find all the slots. And as you can see, there we go, we have 35 slots. And as you can see, it's set as all of them here. So we've got slot 1, slot 2, well, slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4. All the way down to slot 34, and as you can see, going to our slot holder, we have technically 35 slots. That's perfect. So let's just put that back up. Now it's for the isFull function, or the isFull bool. This is pretty much just going to check whether or not the slot is full, and if not, it will put an item inside, otherwise it will just skip past it. So let's go isFull is equal to a new bool list, and we'll, as the length of it, we will just go slot holder dot child count. There we go. Cool. We could also just put slots.length in here, but I feel like this might actually just be more useful. Just in case if it skips it or something. I don't know why. Okay. So next, what we can do is inside here, we can go. Oh wait, no, not inside here actually. We'll add another for loop, and we could go in I, same thing. It doesn't really matter. Is equal to slots dot length, because this for loop is after the other one, so it's already added. And what we can do is if slots of I dot child count. So this is what we're going to be doing here. Excuse me. I need a drink of water. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So what we're going to be doing is checking whether or not the ith slot has any children in it, and if so, then we're going to say is full of I, which is going to be the slot, as true. Otherwise, false if it does not have anything in it. If it is child count is less than 1, we can also go as equal to 0 or whatever. We'll go less than 1, then we're gonna go is full of I is equal to true. Oh wait, is equal to false. Else we're gonna go is full of I is equal to true. So yeah, if it's child count is less than 1, then it's going to set it to false, meaning that if it's 0 or less somehow, then we're gonna set it to 1, to false. Else it's just gonna set it to true. Just to strengthen it a little bit more, we can just go if lots of I dot child count is more than 0, then we set it to true. There we go. So now what we should have, if we go under, if we click play again, I know I'm testing this a lot. Click play again. This should also be 35, and it should all be set to false. But yeah, so that's pretty much the basis of our inventory manager. It should be pretty easy and straightforward from here. All we have to do is make another. This is just handling all our items. We can call functions from this wherever we want, because in our other classes we can go like public inventory manager and then call it. But what we can do now is make a public void. Notice that this isn't private anymore. We make a public void called add item. So this is where we're going to be adding items. So we're getting a little bit spicy now, and we're going to make in here we're going to make a reference to a game object. Object, and we will call it item, and this is going to be the item that we're going to instantiate somewhere inside of our slots. Now the way we're going to find this is pretty interesting. So what we're going to do is make a for loop, and we're going to go is equal to slots dot length. Everything's pretty much going to derive from the slots in this. We're going to go if slots of I dot is full. Actually, we can go if is full of I is equal to false, then we can instantiate the object. It's really as simple as this. instantiate, we're going to instantiate the item at slots of I. Yeah, it's that simple. And then what we can do is we can go update slots. Afterwards, not inside actually. After this, update slots. And if we keep going, it's just gonna keep looping it. So we're actually just gonna break out of this for loop. And yeah, that should be it for adding an item. We can also return out of the for loop. Oh, we have a minor error. We're just gonna do what it says. There we go. Cool. So now, whenever we add an item, we can actually just make a reference to this. So this shouldn't be too hard to do right now. Actually, now that I think about it, we can do this right now in adding an item. What we have to do is UI button, and we'll just go add item. Notice that I'm not putting this inside the inventory because I don't need to. We're just gonna put this up here, and we're gonna just name it add thing. Well, not name it, but we're going to put the words in it as add thing. Under add item, we're just going to add non-click event, select our game manager, and we're just gonna go inventory manager dot add item. And as you can see, we have a reference to a game object here. So we're gonna add one in, and it's really simple to do this. We're just gonna create a image over our slot, and we're gonna make its width and height 75 by 75. Name this whatever you want. Sticks, wood, gun, I don't know, sword, whatever game you want. It's really simple. I'm just gonna name this item for now. By the way, all of this is gonna go on the asset store, for like $1. I know at the start of the video, I said that a lot of, like, the things you have to pay for, technically you don't have to pay for this. You just, if you're really freaking lazy, then you probably would, but otherwise, you're not gonna. So it doesn't really matter too much. I mean, it probably does to you guys, but I do need to make money somehow over this, so at least I'm giving you free education. So now we're going to make this item a prefab. So if we go on inventory, we're just going to make another folder called items, because we're going to have a lot of items later on if we keep making items. So that's an image. That's it. And we just go add thing as there. So now, if you can imagine, add thing, it's gonna add one. It's gonna keep adding items. And this, I think, is the coolest part about this, is that it is so goddamn simple to do this. Hello, mosquito. Can you please go away? And I just knocked a shit ton of pins off my desk. Great. But if you notice, is that it's not gonna keep trying to add items. It's just gonna keep it as that, and we can totally just go, if it can't find anything, then we're gonna do something with the item. But I just think this is so cool. Yeah, it's so simple. This is the whole code for the inventory. There is nothing else, and it's that simple. Obviously, now we can add in things like the slot, we can add in the items, we can add in all this. But it is so goddamn simple to code this, and I don't see why people have to make it such a big deal. Yeah, okay, now we're gonna make a public void called remove item. So now this is where we sort of have to get a little bit technical with everything. Because now we're gonna have to take in an int, and it's gonna have to be the ID of the slot. So I just find this is the easiest way to do it. It's not too hard. All we have to do is just go into scripts, and we can go create C# script called slot. Immediate. And let's just drag it under the inventory ones. Let's go under slot. Let's open it up again in Visual Studio, and we're just gonna make a few variables. So we're gonna make a public int ID, and we're gonna make a public. Do we actually need anything else other than that? No, for now we just need ID. Yeah. Okay. We can also go select, make a public void in here actually, because we're going to need this, and we're gonna just name it select, or select item actually. Select slot. Select slot sounds better. Cool. Boom, boom. Okay. Now on here we can make another variable called public. Well, not called public, but we're gonna make another public int called current slot, and this is gonna be the ID of the slot. So this is, yep. Then we can go under here. Now we can go slots of I dot get component. Slot dot ID is equal to I. Yeah, so if we do this now and we just go back into Unity, it should automatically put in like under the slots under here. We also on here we actually also need to put the slot script in, and we can override this and apply to all, so now all of them have the slot ID. But if we do this now, they should all have their own unique ID. So this is number 7 that has slot 7, slot 0, 0, 0, 10, 18. Really simple. Again, like the inventory is, it's very simple to code. Next we're gonna make a private, because we don't really want to clutter. You can make this public if you want, doesn't really make any difference, but we're just gonna make a private inventory manager, and we're gonna call this manager. Now this is a really good trick to learn in getting game objects rather than just setting them yourselves. In the start or awake, whatever you want, we are just gonna go manager is equal to game object dot find game object with tag. Now this is so helpful, and we can just call it manager, because if we remember back, and we can go get key component inventory manager. Now because if you can remember back to when we made the tag of manager, I told you it would be coming in handy. We actually named it manager. So now we're gonna find the one game object we have with tag manager, and we're gonna get component of inventory manager. That's gonna set the manager. So now if we select it, we can go manager. This is just referencing variables in the script and then changing them. Dot current slot, is that public? That was public. Cool. Current slot is equal to ID. So that's what we're gonna do by selecting it. Now we can go under remove item. We can go actually, now that I think about it, we don't even need to do this. We don't even need the int ID. We could just go something as simple as destroy slots of I dot of ID dot get child 0. It's just gonna destroy that, and I think it actually needs to be a game object, so we can just go game object. And then if we want, we can, I'm just gonna add a comment here, add it into scene or game or other code here. There we go. So I just left a little comment here that to remind myself that if after the destroy we actually don't have a game to put it into, so we're just gonna do that here. You can instantiate again back into the scene, it really doesn't matter. But yeah, so that should just be removing the item now. So now if we go, oh, ID does not existing current. Oh, it's not, it's current slot, not ID. Yeah, that's just a little quick change. My mind has gone completely destroyed. I swear to God, I'm really tired. But anyway, if we go now under canvas and we go, instead of add item, we add a remove item. AKA remove thing, as we're gonna, as the text is gonna be. Remove thingy, or thing. We're just gonna drag this down, and instead of the add item, we are gonna go inventory manager dot remove item. It's as simple as that. Now if we go on to play, when we add items, we can select them and then destroy it. It's actually just gonna remove the first one, and as you can see, it says transform child out of bounds. Yeah, we have a problem, boys. So we actually need a bug fix this, because I haven't had this before. So when we add things, wrong one, slot holder, these four. So if we go that inventory or manager, current slot is still equal to 0. That is not good. Is it because I actually haven't set it up? I haven't set it up. Okay, that is a really stupid. Wait. That should work though, cause okay, let me see something. Let me see something. Technical errors here. Alright, so it's not. It must be that it's not finding the. No, okay, game manager. So now if we select the first slot, or the second slot, game manager, current slot is equal to 0. Okay. Oh, it's because, yeah, I haven't set it up yet. Okay. The way we're going to do this is we're just going to quickly go ball mode. We're going to go here. Drag in the slot, and we're just going to go slot dot select slot. And we're going to override this and apply to all. It's all about bug fixing, boys. No, not everyone can be perfect. Now, if we add things, click on this, remove thing, it works perfectly. And as you can see, it fills up from whatever's first. It's such a good system to have. Now if we add things, it's just going to do it like this. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now it's actually... we're just trying to destroy something that's not there, so we can just add a few lines to this just to make sure it doesn't break. We can just add an if here and go slots of current slot dot child count is less than 1, then we're just going to return, and we won't destroy it. Yep. So because then it won't destroy and break the code. So this should just be fine now. We can go in our game, we can add items, we can click on them, we can actually just remove them twice if we want, nothing will happen. We can close our inventory. Everything is great, so far. And this is pretty much an inventory system. It is 70 to 80 lines of code. It is that simple. It is super duper, like, crazily simple. That took 30 minutes. And yeah, that's probably the quickest I've actually coded one of these. Because I've done a lot of refinement, and it is this easy. Crafting items is super simple as well. It doesn't really take long. Should we just add a crafted item? Should this be a little bit longer and we can have a crafted item as well? Should we? No, we won't. We'll save that for a later video. But this is pretty much a working inventory. By the way, you can also have these remove things that add things on the slots themselves. And you can just call them within the slot script to go to the manager. It's super simple. It honestly, people make a big deal out about it. I'm going to play that clip again of $56 to $80. A lot of them just do the same stuff that this does. Because in the short term, in the short-sightedness or whatever, this is the bare bones of an inventory. You can add, you can remove, you can... Honestly, we could even make use. because all you gotta do is have another button for use, or when you just click on an item and then click use over here, it will destroy the item and then something else will happen. It is that simple. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.